tí ń sọ̀hún sí yín gbogbo ìgbà ni mo ń fojú ní West Africa Democracy Radio.
Shekka muna a Najeriya. Ku saurari WADR.
West Africa Democracy Radio.
Je suis à Dakar, au Sénégal, et j'écoute la WADR 94.9 FM.
West Africa Democracy.
West Africa Democracy Radio.
We are West Africa Democracy Radio.
94.9 FM.
Dakar, Senegal. It's you speaking.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen.
It's time to embrace a youthful mindset and envision your future. Take the lead is in your world.
Take the lead is in your world.
This platform serves as a space for engagement designed to equip young people to become effective leaders. They are actively contributing, creatively engaged, and determined in various fields. And now, this is Take the Lead.
The world belongs to the young people, and they are the drivers of positive change. They are leading efforts to secure a sustainable future. So as young people, we say hello and welcome to Take the Lead. With us on West Africa Democracy Radio, the space where young voices rise, ideas ignite, and conversations just don't echo. They transform the future. I am Augustine Curley, your host, and today we are discussing how to design curricula capable of training competent, competitive young people ready to meet the challenges of the job market, particularly in our West African sub-region. So whether you are listening from the Gambia, if you're listening from all the way there in Accra, Ghana, Monrovia, Freetown, or wherever, joining us live, we would like you to also join us and participate. Share your thoughts. What are the disparities? What are the mismatches? What are the gaps between learning something in the classroom and coming out, finding a job becomes difficult? What could be the factors playing those roles? And together we have a professor with us, and very shortly we'll also be joined by a student and a school principal to discuss these things that are so unique to us in the West African sub-region. Right now in studio with me is Professor Saliu John, and he is a lecturer and researcher of African and Post-Colonial Studies at Sheikh Anta Diop University in Dakar. It's a privilege to have you with us, Prof. How are you doing, and welcome?
I'm fine, and thank you for the invitation.
I mean, we are happy to have you. I know it's quite a busy time, and you're running lessons, you're running some lectures, you have conversations to hold, but you took this time to meet with the young people. We really appreciate you. Tell us about your impression, and I guess this may be another time in the studio if you've been here before.
Yeah, I have been here before, and I think coming here to discuss issues that are matter of concern to Africa is also part of why I'm also a university professor. So because university professor is not only someone who stay in classroom, but he's also someone who has to go and then meet people from the society, because they are also working for the societies. Then it's a pleasure to come and share this talk with you.
Thank you so much, Professor. We will be joined by Isaac Ashimpon. He is an international management professor that's professional, and he's also the founder of the English Lab Dakar. Also joining via online will be Derek Dennis. He is the president of the National Association of Liberia School Principals, who will be sharing with us the experience of the situation there in Liberia. Plus you, our amazing listeners and viewers, together we can make this better. Well, it's important to know that in West Africa, the job market is undergoing profound changes. Every year, thousands of young graduates enter the workforce, but many struggle to find employment that matches their qualifications. And this paradox highlights a major challenge: the gap between the training provided and the skills actually sought by employers. Added to this are the digital transformation, the emergence of new professions, the development of the green economy, and the rise of entrepreneurship, all of which demand more versatile but also innovative profiles that are capable of adapting to a constantly evolving environment. Particularly in West African countries, reforms are underway to modernize training curriculum, as been discussed by you educators, Professor John, and closer collaboration between training institutions and the private sector also appears to be a key sector for better management of meeting the job market. So we are raising a very specific question today, for which we will want to hear more from you, our guests: how to design a curriculum that is capable of training not just graduates, but competent graduates, young people ready to meet the challenges of the job market in West Africa. But before answering that question, let's take a trip to Nigeria, where discussions are also ongoing whether the country's education system is keeping pace with the demands of the modern job market. And our correspondent, Yechenu Sasetu, fights this report.
We have probably maybe 500 vacancies or so, and we are struggling to find people to fill those roles.
Graduation should mark the beginning of a career. Instead, it has become the start of uncertainty for thousands of young Nigerians who leave university wondering whether the knowledge they acquired in the classroom is enough to earn them a place in today's competitive job market.
Nigerians are very hardworking people, but I think that there is a pandemic that is going on in the educational system of Nigeria.
As discussions continue on reforming Nigeria's National Youth Service Corps, another issue has taken center stage: the widening gap between academic learning and the skills employers now demand. That uncertainty is already weighing on Florence, a 300-level undergraduate.
I'm not that confident, I won't lie, honestly. I believe I have valuable skills like communication skills, writing skills. I'm still building through my internship and personal learning, but honestly, I'm not that confident.
Victor, also a third-year student, believes the problem begins in the classroom.
If my school had that part of a curriculum, some part of study where they will teach us how to actually be bold and be able to speak in front of large crowds.
Their concerns are backed by a changing labor market. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria's unemployment rate stood at 4.3% in the second quarter of 2024, while youth unemployment among people aged 15 to 24 was 6.5%. Recruiters say the difference between getting hired and being overlooked often comes down to skills. This employer, Itohan Olani, carried out recruitment recently.
Getting or recruiting people into an industry or a company is not easy. You have to go through a pool of people who know next to nothing about what you're looking for.
Educationist Irene Uba believes the solution lies in a complete rethink of how young people are prepared for life after school.
It's not just taking things and adding and saying that you have a curriculum. You're looking at what is the gap that exists in the society, what outcomes we want our graduates to have, and it has to start even from the kindergarten.
Graduating with magna cum laude.
A certificate may open a door, but it is skills that keep it open. As Nigeria considers reforms to the NYSC, the bigger question remains whether graduates will leave school equipped not only to look for jobs, but to create value wherever they find themselves.
Well, thanks to Yechenu Sasetu for bringing us those details, specifically focusing on Nigeria there with regards to the youth unemployment. Well, let's just quickly welcome Isaac Echiapon, who has joined us. He is an international management professional, as we stated earlier. So welcome, Isaac. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this is a platform for you as a young person, but let's now get into the discussion. There is this overview that been given by our correspondent, and specifically with statistics in West Africa, the sub-region accounts for 24.95% of youth unemployment, and this outpasses the sub-Saharan Africa, which has the rate of 8.9, and it is even much higher than the global youth unemployment rate, which stands at 5.8. What do you make of these statistics, sir?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think that we have two ways of looking at it. And there is a common narrative saying that actually it's because how higher education institution, they do not really train people who are cut out for the job that the job market needs, which can be wrong and right at the same time. Because what people, I can just take the example of Chantayo University, which I know very well. Many people who are saying it, sometimes they don't really even know the areas of education or the different type of training that are being provided in those institutions. So it's just a common narrative. To some extent, it can be possible if we look at the pace of the job market, especially our economies are tailored to the economy of the West, so that even the job market is tailored to the job market of the West, so that we have the tendency to always lag behind in many areas. But sometimes also, it's because the job market has nothing to offer. So there are these two ways of looking at things. It's not because we are training young students who graduate, but they cannot find a job because what we teach sometimes does not match with what the job market needs. Because universities are just reinventing themselves. I can take the example of Chantal University and many institutions that you have in Senegal. I mean, they are still reinventing themselves based on the need, not on specific businesses, but on specific areas, like in the fintech sector, in the digital sector, with the advent of what we call the digital economy. Sometimes there are mismatches, this we can agree, but sometimes also because the job market has nothing to offer, because we don't have an economy that is strong enough to provide young people with the type of job that they really want.
Well, interesting.
But institutions are reinventing themselves to follow the pace of the country's economy.
The current trend.
Yeah.
What about you, Isaac? As a young person reading these statistics, what do they say to you?
Okay, so I would say that it is very concerning, first of all, because when you need to finish school, definitely you need you want to get to work. You need to be in an environment where your skills will be able to be needed. But this comes to the case where there is no space for this employment phase, which makes the job market also, as our teacher here was saying, it is very important that we notice that it is very crucial when the job market is demanding on the education sectors or education system. When the job market is demanding rather than also putting in measures in order to make sure that the students are also getting their skills, in action. Because the main focus is the education system is doing this, the education system is doing that. What about also the job market? What are they also doing? Because way back in the days where the job market were providing, training, students can go right after school, they can go into internships for about 5 years to get experience, because the job market was giving them that service. But this is the case now. Job market already needs students to be prepared. They need a finished product. And students are not just a finished product. So it is what the contradiction is coming. So this is the main reason, or this is the thing that I would say concerning that.
Now, it makes me trying to consider theory over practice.
Exactly.
Considering the fact that many institutions emphasize theoretical knowledge while employers seek the graduates with practical or hands-on skills. But now let's firstly concentrate on the educational aspect. In the school, what are the major, if not courses, subjects that the institutions are providing that we can try to compare with what's out there when they should have graduated? For you, Professor.
So it depends on the different areas. Okay, you cannot just say these are the specific areas. If I take the different institutions that exist in Senegal or in West Africa as a region, there are different education area that you can really find training that can really fit into the job market. So if I take in the field of business, I think students are being trained in the field of business. In the field of finances, in the field of law, because when we talk about the job market, it's not only about businesses. This is the mistake that we really make. It's not only about businesses. If we take the example of Senegal, I mean, most of the employment that exists are employment provided by the government, because the private sector is not investing in education. This is also the problem. Okay, but I think that in all the different areas, specifically, if I take Senegal or in many African countries, there are different training that really fit into the job market. You talk about university or institution, they provide theoretical training, but sometimes they are also practical training, because you have experiences that you have to do in different laboratories. Some students, they have to have internship before they get into the job market. Sometimes businesses don't even provide internship to the student, which is also another problem. I think that different areas in the field of computer science, in the field of fintech, in the field of financing, in the field of banking, tourism, international relations, laws. I mean, there are different areas, even in nuclear energy. Senegal does not have any nuclear industry, any nuclear company, but we have an institute of nuclear energy, because nuclear energy is not only used in company, but it's also used in medicine.
And that is a serious contradiction. Can we consider that as a point of focus right now, where institutions are providing knowledge to students for which jobs are not available for?
No, it's not job. No, that's what I'm saying. When we talk about job, it's not only the industry sector. No, jobs are diverse. I mean, it doesn't mean because we don't have a nuclear company that we don't have to provide training in nuclear energy. No, nuclear energy is not used in that sector. Nuclear energy, you can use it in health. You can use it for research. So, I mean, institutions do not have to wait, but they have to take the lead.
Okay.
That's how institutions function. I can give you the example. Now, people are talking about computer science. More than 30 years ago, Senegal had already started training people in computer sciences. In AI, you go to Senegal University, they are training in AI. They are training in almost, I'm not saying in all fields, because I cannot just generalize, but in all the sectors that really exist in Senegal, you can find training, whether you have it at Senegal University, or whether you have at Gaston University, or whether you have it in even some private higher education that exists in Senegal. I think there are different areas of training that really exist, and curricula are still being updated based on the need of the globe of the region, but also based on the need of the country to make students very competitive.
And because we have a student with us as well, do you believe that the level at which institutions are updating their curriculum, meeting the vast or average level of students that need to learn them to be available for what's on the job market?
Okay, it is a very interesting question, because this is what we are currently facing. Now look at this. the education is supposed to provide a balanced form of education to the people, to the students, right? Now, we will come back to that of what particular role that education is not playing. But we are now focusing on what are the criteria or the curriculum. Is it fitting into the industry that is also calling the job market? Now, this is the thing. When the job market is also focused on the trends, we need to do something so that people, let me say, the students that are coming will come and work. You see, the job market is providing, the vast room so that people will respond right now, the reactiveness of the situation. Now, let's just look at the responsiveness of the situation. The education is looking at the bigger picture. As our professor said, there have been, other curriculum, or let me say, education aspects that already existed, but were not, exploiting in the job market, right? This is a balance that is creating. Now, the job market is also saying students are supposed to come in with AI knowledge, come up with, let me say, technological knowledge. But this is the case whereby it is just being reactive. It is solving an immediate problem. Now, imagine that we adapt our curriculum and we say students are now, let me say, all AI professionals, and they come back into the system, or they respond. The number of employers would demand, let me say, out of the 10,000 students that have graduated, it's only 2,000 that are going to be employed, which doesn't really make sense. It's still making unemployment available. So if we really want to solve this issue, then there is a need for us to make a balance. So the school is doing it best, but at the same time, it is also the responsibility of the work sectors or the demand of the job market to also find a way to train the student to adapt into the trends that we are currently facing.
Now, would there be the need to maybe drop some traditional courses or lessons that have been taught over the years by these schools? Does it mean that because you want to adapt to the current trend, maybe to have some soft skills lessons for students, maybe the digital economy that you talked about, would that mean schools now dropping maybe the normal mathematics, the normal geography, to fit in with the technology, to fit in with what's happening, like technical vocational education? Would that not be a gap, or something would not be missing in that direction?
No, I do agree with what
Isaac.
I said. It's quite relevant. But I think that, in terms of education, education has different temporalities. It's not only for today. Tomorrow will exist. Example, you train 1,000 students in AI. They graduate, they won't find any job. So you have to diversify the area of training. But it doesn't mean also we have to leave aside what used to be done. What used to be done is also good. You just have to reinvent it, to update it based on the need of the time. I myself, I always, and I'm sure that many of my colleagues, that's what they do, whether at Shanto University or whether in private institutions, they always update their courses based on the challenges, based on the need of the time, based on even what is being seen in the different companies. Because as I told you, it is a common narrative to say that actually there is a mismatch between what is being taught and what the companies need, and people are aware of it, so that people also go and then see what is being done in the different companies. If you look at many institutions, you have different branches. You have engineering. You have people who can have, higher term education or mid-term education or short-term education. You have different form of education that can really fit into what the job market needs. But as I said, sometimes the job market is not really offering any enough, or is not offering anything because of our economy in West Africa that are not that strong to really cover all the need. But we cannot look to the present. We also have to project ourselves into the future. If not, we're just going to be late.
Now, you, Isaac, you were considering the aspect of what schools are now also providing to meet the jobs market as a reserve. Let's now bring it as a focus of the discussion. What are those specific maybe subjects or those courses that institutions, academic institutions, are not offering, for which they need to ensure that this gap is closed or maybe addressed a little?
Okay, so as the professor was saying, it is vast, right? And some of the courses are much more. As a student, I would say some of the courses are not relevant, but we will not demolish the idea of the long term of it. We will not know. As it stands right now, we are now much more focused on artificial intelligence. But a time will come, artificial intelligence is not going to be relevant. There are some things that are also going to be needed. Now, guess what? A lot of people were overlooking at that time when education was really moving on. A lot of people were looking outside agriculture. But now, see, we are all going back to agriculture courses. People are now trying to bring back agriculture, but in a different phase. So if we overlooked agriculture as an education curriculum, it would have gone against us. So the basis of it should not be thrown away. Whenever that an education system discovers something, it have to maintain it. But guess what? We don't have to just follow the trend and leave our traditional system behind, because that is the main thing that is keeping the education system active. So if we are talking about balance and we are talking as students, there's not supposed to be any curriculum that have to be removed. It needs to be maintained, but make sure that the students have the right choices to make in terms of options, so that they will not just choose everything that they just come up with. Like, oh, I am a graduate in, let me say, computer science, and then that is it. So the moment computer science crashes, you don't have any other skills apart from computer science, and that is very risky for the future.
And that brings me into the choices that students make in terms of their studies. Professor, you have taught a lot of students, and you've lived lives to see what it means of how one begins his whole education from the kindergarten all the way to the college level. What do you make of the choices that young people make from high school? Now they entered into universities. They want to study perhaps things that their country is now offering. And some are also looking at Western country scenario to bring it into their current environment. Is it one of the factors that's undermining or breaching the gap between what's been taught in the school and what's available on the job market?
So I think that if I were to decide, I would say that actually we need to reshuffle our education system.
In what way?
Okay, from primary school. Because the system that I went to school to is no longer relevant. Like, I learned things that I'm no longer using. But it doesn't mean that what I learned in the past was not really important, as Isaac has said it. I mean, the example of agriculture. In Senegal, we had, and we still have it, a school that was training people in farming. But now it is the same form of training that has been updated and then renamed. People talk about agribusiness. So imagine if we had stopped it. I think that what we should do is just to review or to update our education system and then offer young students more choices. And not just, see to it that they just have, that they make their choices at the very young age, but allow them to be in a system where they can really move.
Should they be left with making their individual choices, or as a parent or a guardian or maybe an educationalist providing pieces of advice?
No, they can. When you're a minor, you need your parents. Sometimes you don't even know. You can make choices that are not valid, that are not relevant. But you also need the advice of your parents or your guardian. But what I mean is that have an education system where, for example, all will learn mathematics, all will learn technology, all will learn languages. And at a certain level, it can be up to, for example, first year or second year. And then you have your school living diploma that will even allow you to study technology, to study medicine, or to study any kind of area. But at the very beginning, people are confined in some choices. Because when you are in arts, for example, you can no longer change. And someone can be good at languages and improve in mathematics. in a few years. And if you have an education that is open, that offer more choices, it can be also a way to avoid or to fill in the gap that exists in the job market.
Okay, for you, Isaac, were you able to choose your career path individually, or was it based on advice from parents or guardians?
Okay, so it was definitely a choice that I made out of the many options that were available. I made a lot of mistakes choosing a career path. Yes, I made a lot of, because there were a lot of options that were available. But as I said, we have the positive and the negative. Okay, so the negative is, as I said, it have delayed me some time for me to be able to readjust myself according to time. Now, if someone that is also in a system or in a place where they are really directed right from infancy and they are able to choose what they are supposed to do right now, a time will come, as I said, if I'm just a computer science student, and that is what I've known from the beginning, is I'm going to be an expert. But guess what? The time that era changes, I cease to be relevant. So that is the negative aspect of it. But the positive aspect is it makes you to be an expert of what you do and do it very well.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But another concern is about this issue of connecting, one would say, from the classroom to the job market. What can be the role of institutions, that is both educational institutions and that of professional institutions, in terms of internship? Should it be considered a major factor? How should the schools help the student graduating to immediately be able to get a job after graduation, Professor Ward?
So I think that the gap is being even filled out, because many institutions are now signing MAU with companies, and then so that they can provide them with internship, or sometimes they can even hire the company.
You said many. Is it at a skill? Because the youth unemployment rate doesn't debate that.
Yeah, I mean, I think
or just a few institutions are doing that.
It's just like a process. A process. Things are changing. What we had 10 or 20 years ago is no longer relevant. I mean, people are now working in connection with people in the business sector, so that they can provide them easily with the internship they need, or after they graduate, they can really hire them. I remember some years ago, maybe university did not connect with the business sector. But now even we have even connection now with the business sector. Every day we signing MAU with people from the business sector. It means that there is a new way of looking at education, which was different from the way we used to look at education. And what I can say with Chandrajo, I'm sure that even many higher education institutions in Senegal, even in West Africa, are now being connected with the business sector, so that they can provide them with internship. The other issue is sometimes you can also have people from the business sector coming and delivering courses, sharing their experiences with the student. This is also a new way, university or institution being open up to people from the business sector, so that they can come and share their experience with the student as people who have I mean, the practical skill.
True. Can we also consider, maybe you can come in with that, can we also consider some soft skills like critical thinking, problem solving skills, communication? Are there factors lacking in this process?
Yes. There's a lot of factors that are missing with what we mentioned right now, that are missing in the education system. But one thing is really crucial in the fact that, okay, like me, I'm coming from diverse countries, so I understand how some things works. Okay, there are some systems, especially West Africa, Senegal to be precise. When a student is not getting an internship or is not getting the employment, they create an opportunity for themselves. There are a lot of youths now that are creating businesses for themselves, not waiting. But this is the same situation where you go to other countries, youth are waiting to be employed, because the skills that are embedded in them is just for employment. So we are not just supposed to look on the surface. We are not just supposed to look on the surface of trying to be employed, but we are supposed to learn. And that is what I think the school is lacking for now. For me, my analysis, the school is lacking the incentives on how to teach students on how to be independent right from the beginning to not just search into the job market, but also add to the job market, like to create some opportunities in the job market. So I think if students are able to do that, they can now be able to readjust and also contribute to the job market, to not just be an employees, but also to be employers in the system.
Okay. Now, just before we try to take some comments on our live feed, we have Derek Dennis joining us from Liberia. He is the president of the National Association of Liberia School Principals. There is 2.3 rate of unemployment for young people in Liberia. Well, Instructor Derek, welcome, sir, and how are you doing?
Yes, thank you so much. I should say thank you for this program, Take the Lead. The name of the program itself represents a critical step for directing the path of young people. Again, like you said, my name is Derek Dennis, president of the National Association of Liberia School Principals. And I'm very much passionate about such a discussion because if we talk about the future, of course, the relationship between here and there is how we fill the gap when it comes to leadership. So, as president of the Principal Association, having served as principal for over 15 years, one thing that I have always talked about is this issue about how do we balance this issue of curriculum and entrepreneurship, because this conversation, in my wisdom, it speaks more of how do we incorporate entrepreneurship into education. I have always argued, and I hold the debate to the neck, that there is a difference between education and degree. Our system in Africa has been structured in a way that there is so much pressure on young people about degree, and you see that every year we graduate students from high school and from universities and colleges, but we don't have jobs for them. So how do we strike that balance between providing education and providing skills? I've been following the conversation. Sorry, I'm just joining late. I'm joining this late because I was in meeting with the Minister of Education, and I had to hurry, run back to be able to form part of this conversation. When we are offering diploma to our high school graduates, we are giving them little or nothing to serve society, because diploma alone doesn't prepare you to be a leader in society. It is just part of the process of education. But more importantly, how do we integrate entrepreneurship into education in order to help young people to acquire the skills needed? Take, for example, when we are running our high school or secondary education, if our emphasis is just on physics, geography, chemistry, biology, and you talk about English and literature and all of that, if we don't bring along the skill component that talks about why in high school can this person learn plumbing, electricity, can this person become a mason, can this person do this one? So we combine the skill component without the intellectual component to make a complete person to be able to provide the kind of solution that we need in society. This is where our education system has fallen short. Unlike Liberia, Africa, and other countries, but you see, in the case of Germany, in the case of
I think the microphone. You can check your microphone. You are speaking, but the sound is not coming. So, thank you so much for that. Let's quickly check our live feed right now, and also read out what our online followers are saying. Well, so far, Noila Sa says, congratulations, Dr. Dion. Abdul Kulibali says, thank you for your outstanding lecture. We are proud of it. Someone said you are right. You are right for what? Please share your thoughts with us, and we will certainly read out your opinion. We also want to hear from you. What exactly do you know about the mismatches between what people are learning in the classroom and what's been offered in the job market? These are interesting things that we are considering at this movement. So far, from last evening, people started commenting even when we posted the videos of you, our guests. Adolphus Mawolo commented, and he says, the statistics on unemployment of young people across the continent can help answer this question. For the post part, the system isn't designed to help us create this unemployment. Do you believe that?
So I think that things are really changing. I think that people are now aware of the mismatches that really exist. And now, as I said it, I mean, many people were not trained into being self-employed. I mean, they were trained into being employed. So they have to wait to have an employment. And I think the trend now is changing, and we can see many young people having their own startup. It is a new trend that is really coming up with education, and I think that many high education institute and even education institute in general are really changing, okay, to really fill the gap. But as I said a while ago, our economies are not also very strong. Okay, to really absorb the number of graduate students that come into the job market every year. Okay. That's why I say sometimes the job market also is not offering anything. That's the problem. We always put the blame on the education system, but the job market also is not really playing its part.
The job market is not playing its part. And what would you say about Liberia's condition, Mr. Dennis? Are the young people willing to even learn these soft skills? What could be the challenges in maybe implementing the different curriculums across the country? Okay, I think we've lost contact with Mr. Dennis. We hope to get in before the show ends. But let me ask you, Isaac, what do you think could be maybe the challenges in implementing reformed curriculums for our West African countries?
Okay, the challenges that I think that we will encounter.
Yeah.
The challenges that I think we will encounter in adapting our curriculum is the time frame. Because AI within a week or within a month, AI can adapt itself many times. New things technologies can advance faster than our curriculum. So our curriculum, I don't know if Professor can help us. How many years does it take for a curriculum to be changed?
Sometimes it depends on the teacher.
Okay.
On the institution?
No, not on the teacher. Sometimes it depends on the teacher to just update it.
Okay, but sometimes the institutions should also play a role in ensuring that maybe the instructors update their curriculum at a specific time. Isn't that important in that direction? But it's interesting. Now
it depends on institutions.
Institutions.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. I think that answers your question,
Yeah.
Isaac.
So to catch up with that, I would say that the institutions need time to adapt with the curriculum. You see, and every time way in and out, there is also a need where how do you call it? The job market is always improving every day. So the school system cannot catch up. So I don't know if there is still going to be a perfect match. Probably there's going to be a mismatch where there's negative and positive.
I think that many teachers they travel, they go to seminars, they go to workshop, so they see what is happening. They know about the challenges. Sometimes when they come back, they include new things in their curriculum so that this can help the student to be more competitive. But the idea is not about seeing to it that the student can be very competitive at the local level, but also at the international level. so that if you have students who are trained in Senegal, when they go to any country, they are likely to be able to work there. If you have someone trained in Mali or someone trained in Burkina Faso, or I mean, they're likely to go and then really work. The idea is not to see to it that the student can be competitive at the local level, but see to it that the student can be competitive at the global level.
Well, as we wrap up, let's consider another trending issue about the standards of employment, but maybe on the job market or an employer. A young person just graduating last month and very smart, maybe even the dues of his school or his department, now is being told to have 2 or 3 years experience for a job that he started and just graduated just last month. What do you make of these standards or requirements being put in place by these companies wanting 2 or 3 years experience person? When will the young graduate work, and where will he even work to get the experience?
Before answering the question, I'm going to tell you a story. The story was the story of a young graduate who was who just submitted his file to be recruited, but people needed someone who has 10 years experience. He just submitted, and when the young graduate came, they told him that actually we're looking for someone who has 10 years experience. I said, how do you want me to have 10 years experience? You don't give me the chance to have 10 years experience. And he was the one that was hired. So I think that the idea of asking for experience, for me, it's really fallacy. It's just a politics that is initiated by maybe companies not to directly hire the graduate. Because if you don't offer someone the chance to have experience, they will never have experience.
So as a professor, are you calling for that aspect to be stripped away?
No, it's not institutionalized. I mean, company just institutionalized. It's not an obligation. I mean, you can just have, I don't know if you can have 3-month internship. And after the internship, if you see that, I mean, there is you are satisfied, you can just provide a contract. But the issue is sometimes they don't want to provide you with a contract directly. They want to make it last long, so that it's just like a sort of business.
Have you faced that situation before, Isaac?
Of course, and and it's really a headache because when you submit your CV, so let me say your files, and they are demanding that even before, when you see the opportunity, you know that this is my field and you can work. But the moment you see the experiences, you are like, no, let me back off because this is not mine. But I think this is where the institutions have to also come in to help us, the graduates, in a way that a system will be set in place where if someone is trained in a university, he is automatically needed to be qualified to work in an institution. Because one day I passed by Shaka Antidiop, and I realized that the people there or the students there are not just learning, they are implementing because they have workshops that they are doing. These are also the experiences. We don't need to just be under the roof of an institution before we can put out our skills.
Great.
So if there is a possibility to cancel these experiences, it will be better for all of us.
Well, let's quickly take at least 2 comments, then we wrap up. From the Facebook, we have Mamadou Gay. Mamadou Gay says, we need to rethink our educational system. Normally, after the high school graduation, students should be able to find a job. Well, thank you, Mamadou. Well, and tell him, Niska says, I'm really appreciating this debate. It's rare to see people speak so honestly about West Africa's education system and the job market in the same conversation. You are all bringing different angles from the classroom, the university, and the workplace. That's exactly how we start. I lost that part. I hope to get it. It says that's exactly how we start finding real solutions. Thank you for keeping it constructive. I'm learning a lot from each of you. Thank you as well. Wow, we've just had another one quickly. Dow Sees says the question on experience is a bee in new graduated generation's bonnet. They ask you 10 or 5 years of experience while you just embrace the job market. Well, thank you so much as well. Well, Professor, we have to go. What are your pieces of advice to the job or the employers and also to your fellow educators?
So, I mean, I will just wish them maybe good luck for those who are really looking for a job. I mean, is one of and I'm sure that what was more difficult was just to be graduated. And once you graduated, I mean, you have to be just optimistic that a day will come when you will find a job. But they don't have to wait. They also have to initiate something, okay, that can really help them to move forward. The other issue is, I think we need to rethink our education system. And there is also a form of ignorance of many people. Many people don't even know how the education system works. It doesn't mean that people can have a job just after higher education. There are technical schools that exist in Senegal. And I'm sure that it also exists in many West African countries. But the issue is many people don't go to those technical schools. They prefer to go, to a school where they can go to university and then pursue a higher degree. Okay. But I think people should be taught to be really self-employed, because the world is moving, and then we also have to follow the pace of the world, but not expect all from the job market. That is not really offering enough.
Well, Professor Saliu Dion, a lecturer and researcher of African and post-colonial studies at Sheikh Anta Diop University, thank you so much for coming today, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you for the invitation.
And finally, to you, Isaac, what are your parting comments?
So in my conclusion, I would say that the students are starting from the teachers, first of all. The teachers shouldn't, they should try as much as possible. As Professor was saying, when they go on seminars, what they learn there, they should try to, teach that as that one. They shouldn't just follow the curriculum. Okay. Yeah, so that it will help us to advance in that domain. And also, I'm also wishing that the job market will also try to understand the students, the graduates, so that they will employ them to learn faster in the work and contribute as much as to the economy and also the world in general.
Oh, Isaac, it's been a wonderful time with you. Please, thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much.
Well, listeners and viewers, that's it on this edition of Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM, Dakar, Senegal, and online at WADR.org. Remember to take the lead in shaping the discourse for the betterment of young people in Africa. My name is Augustine Curley. I'll talk to you another time. Goodbye.
Hey people, my name is Mello, Afrobeat singer from Guinea, and I love listening to the program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Hello, my name is Fatou Bintou Soukei. I'm the CEO of African Start Shop, and I love listening to your program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.